is our presentation on question 7 of our evaluation. Looking back at your prelim task, what do you feel you've learned in the progression from it to the full product?
More about working as a team within our group. For example, group communication when sending work and exchanging ideas. This has been through person, but also online through group chats on Facebook, Snapchat and other social medias. We've also progressed as a group with filming as well. We were all very communicative when filming the actual opening sequence, so we'd take turns filming, give ideas on shot adjustments, and just overall improvement in our group.
We also developed our knowledge for new software such as Padlet and Premiere Pro and other things we've talked about in evaluation question 7, which we'd never ever come across. We also developed our skills for iMovie, which we're already familiar with, so we learned how to layer scenes and stabilise shaky videos, which we found particularly handy. We also learned how to detach audios and split clips. We were completely unfamiliar with Premiere Pro, that's why we chose not to edit using this. But we learned how to create our own CCTV effect through this, so we created different layers through using text and shapes.
So when filming, we had to review that we didn't break any of the media filming rules such as the 180-degree rule, continuity rules, match on action, shot reverse shot, and we had to all include these to make a convention of an actual film. So ensuring we didn't break these rules, we reviewed after every shot the film that we'd taken and made sure that they all flowed together, so when it came to editing it would be easier for us opposed to making it look different or strange or just not like a usual film. We also added sound matches, so we, for example, when filming we added a sound effect of a car door slamming, so it would create an abrupt ending to the music and make the opening sequence flow better.
And that was our own sound effect.
Yeah. We also added music by Coco, which also matched the walking and pace of our character, which made it also flow even better and made it link to the genre itself of crime.
Through the police sirens, which you can hear in them.
We also had sound matches for the phone when he turns the music on, which plays instantly, which also adds continuity to the opening sequence.
So another important factor is time management. So when we filmed our prelim, we had very limited time, which gave our film a rushed feeling, as there was only one particular day we could all film at the same time, and it was important for all of the crew members to be there. Although we did try to manage our time better in our real final shooting, we couldn't get the actors to learn the script completely as it says, so we had to sort of give them time to improvise, which was down to our own fault as we hadn't given them the script in time.
We also struggled with the reliability of actors. We did have set actors beforehand, but they cancelled on us, so we had to improvise with our casting of actors quickly.
It was also important to film at the appropriate time of day, especially for the sort of feel we wanted, and we couldn't film too late as this would make our shots look rather grainy and poor quality. So we'd ensure time management by looking into the weather in advance to see if it would be like cloudy, the sort of feel we'd want, and this was because in our prelim film lighting was quite off when we filmed, so this was due to the sunset, and although we managed to overcome this through editing, it would take us a lot longer, so it'd be a lot more time consuming, and it did make the film lack some continuity.
However, because our filming location was positioned in an overcovered space, we were quite flexible with lighting because there was not much natural lighting in our final opening sequence.
But when things became a bit too dark, we did have external lighting such as torches and things like that, which obviously isn't professional equipment, but it's as good as we can get for what we have.
We did encounter a few issues when filming. As previously mentioned, we encountered the unreliability of our actors, which was an issue, but was solved quickly. We also had sound problems in the car because the car was not very soundproofed and the actors seemed quite quiet in the overall filming, which we realised when editing. The camera work issues weren't too extensive, especially compared to our prelim task. However, there were a few wobbly shots which could have been fixed by a fixed tripod.
But we did overcome this by using the stabilising shot skill, which we picked up on.
We also had a few issues with sound, as in external sound. So, for example, cars going around the car park, the public passing through, and also use the hang around in the area as a pastime. But we did overcome this because we asked people politely to vacate the area once they were there, or if we found it an issue to our filming. And the only major filming issue which we did encounter was the learning plate on the car, which is quite unprofessional and would not be shown in an actual film. And we found it quite difficult due to our variety of shots to overcome and obscurate this from the final cut. So if in future we are filming, we would take this into account and possibly remove it. So for our soundtrack, our chosen genre was grime, and the artist we chose was Coco, who's a grime artist from Sheffield. And I was quite familiar with his work because it's the music I generally listen to, and it's quite urban, it's quite gritty, and I thought it would match our location very well as our characters. But we did counteract some issues with copyright, which Molly will go on to talk about in a minute. But I also, when we were looking through non-copyrighted songs, we didn't feel that they conveyed our genre and mood enough. So to get over the issue of copyright, we did this.
So we did at first think that the song was copyright free, royalty free, because it was on SoundCloud, and most of the songs on there that you can fully listen to are copyright free, because the other ones that are paid, usually on iTunes and you can find in Spotify, are only available as a preview. So we messaged him on Instagram like this. Jacob first messaged him, but he didn't reply. So we just messaged him, and then he said it was fine and told us to contact his manager. So I emailed his manager, and she said it was absolutely fine that we used it for educational purposes.
This was really effective in our overall opening sequence because I feel the song really conveyed the mood. It really helped us set up a standard for the rest of the opening sequence. So without this, I do not think our opening sequence would have been as good or effective in the genre conventions. The only issue we did encounter with the soundtrack was that because of the grime and gritty and urban nature of the song, we found that it almost swayed our opening sequence genre to seem more gritty realism opposed to crime. So in order to counteract this, we did include way more crime conventions within our opening sequence to sway it back over to crime opposed to gritty realism.
Like our CCTV effect, and also we did use other copyright-free music, such as tension-building music, which would add suspense. We also improved our research and planning skills, so we created a lot more detailed and a lot more posts than we did for our original prelim tasks, such as a shooting schedule, and we used this following our coursework booklets. Again, as we talked about online tools, we improved our research and planning through using different visually appealing tools such as Padlet. We also carried out our own primary research as well as secondary research, such as surveys of which logo to use for our production company, which was the most suitable for our audience. And also we had our audience feedback video, which we did find useful. However, we already knew we were going to refilm anyways, and we already knew what we had to refilm and what went wrong in our film, so we knew it would be completely different. Our research and planning also enabled us to gain a wider knowledge for our genre, although we did cross over with gritty realism, so our film is now practically a hybrid. We also adapted to our issues from planning, such as the actors dropping out last minute, because originally we meant to use Bartek and Jacob's dad, but Jacob's dad couldn't due to work, and Bartek just dropped out. So it was good that we had extra backup through our planning. We also changed the car used, which was different in our planning, but again we had backup, and we also changed our title fonts. So throughout this whole process, we've improved our knowledge, and we know now what we need to do and improve for our A2 course. So the first thing we picked on was definitely better time management. So we definitely need to work ahead a lot more. And although we have met most deadlines, we think this would be a lot more useful. We also should try to borrow better equipment, as although it's not our own fault, the fact that our camera wasn't great quality made our film seem low budget when it was meant to be a high concept, high budget film. We also need to have more detailed thoughts into planning, and so we need to have a lot more backup plans, so if our original idea doesn't work out, or if actors or props aren't available to us, we do need to have a backup, as deadlines still are there to be hit. And we also need to make our ideas conventional rather than original, so although we could make a really obscure story, this wouldn't gain us marks, as we need to follow the conventions of the genre crime, because we need to show our knowledge of the genre.
As Molly just said, we do need to follow the genre conventions to make sure our genre is clear to the audience and it comes across easily. We also need to make sure we follow the filming rules really clearly, so not breaking the 180-degree rule. Just general continuation issues we need to cross out by reviewing film in detail before, going back and editing, because otherwise this could create issues when editing. We could also improve on techniques on creating mood in the setting, so through lighting, through character features. So we could elaborate more on our actors, so possibly cast better quality actors in order to make the film a lot more realistic and more of a actual film. Also through the sound as well, we could even just positioning our camera closer to our subjects so they are better heard by the audience, because if they're not be able to be heard, then there is really no sense of dialogue, and there's no flow, and there's no storyline at all, really. And the importance of research and planning for the final product has to be successful as well, because otherwise, if we've got no planning or research to back up our film, then it seems almost just compiled together at the last minute, whereas if we do have good research and planning, it will work out and we will be able to adapt our opening sequence if anything else fails, as we have backups and just a general knowledge of the genre itself.
We also need to follow key media theories, which will also gain us more marks and is important in film in general. So a key conventional theory for our genre crime would be enigma codes, so creating a series of enigmas and questions will sort of make our audience want to continue watching our film.
Also, just by setting general archetypes and stereotypes within our film would make our characters seem more real and relatable, but also opposed to making it too obscure. So if a character is a general stereotype, the audience will be able to almost guess at their personality instantly and know more about them and be able to relate to them further.